And we're rolling. So one of the things I've noticed is that video production has gotten a lot easier now that we all pretty much have smartphones. I've also noticed that one of the things that we've all gotten used to is that the image isn't always stable. So let's take a quick look at some ideas for stabilization. Of course, there's gimbals, some other things that you can buy, things with weights on them and whatnot. But I kind of like to do things a little cheaper. Not bad for a selfie stick, huh? Kind of makes me feel like Gandalf. You shall not pass! Oh, geez, that probably wasn't such a good idea. The Gandalf stick does work for stabilizing phone video, not stopping monsters. And it works because it's helping the phone behave a little bit more like a regular video camera rather than a phone. Let me explain. So these devices work really well. They're amazing. You can keep them in your pocket, but it's a very different shape than a video camera. So no matter how carefully you hold it, it's going to do this a little bit, do this a little bit, and it's going to do this a little bit. Any one of those things is not that much of a problem. But what you get with these little cameras is a compound motion of all three of them. This is exaggerated, of course. And the little lenses and the little computers that calculate how the video is supposed to look have a lot of trouble with this compound motion. By comparison, something the shape of a regular video camera, you're very carefully shooting. I know it looks like a gun. I mean shooting video. You're very carefully holding it. You might get some of this, you might get some of this, but what you're not going to get is that. And that's the motion that confuses the compression in the smaller cameras. So when you have something like a stick, you're doing several things. Hold on a second here. It is not exactly a graceful process. There's a reason professional tools exist. So not only is this heavier, so the movements aren't going to be quite as quick, but it also kind of reduces the number of axes that the phone is going to move. And that's really all we need it to do. Now, the other nice thing about a stick that you don't necessarily get from other solutions is that you can also just put it down. And now I can talk at length to my viewers without my shoulder falling off. While the stick is a handy device and it's free, and if you happen to have a hair tie, it's completely free. You don't even need to go out and get that. Rubber band works too. This one might be kind of thin, but they do work. What I actually use is this. This is a Movo something. A Movo smartphone video rig and shotgun mic. We'll get to the mic later. And this works almost exactly the same way as the Gandalf stick. Put your phone in there. I've already adjusted that. And now you have a similar device that helps reduce that compound motion. You're just not likely to get that much motion out of your wrist. And this has enough weight to it that it kind of settles into your hand, and it slows the movements down so they're not really jittery. Also has this really nice little level right there. That's really, really handy. But this little handheld thing also has a quarter inch 20 thread per inch, I think it is, TPI, hole right there. And that's for connecting to standard video mounting solutions, like a tripod, for example. You could mount this on a tripod, and now you have actually a pretty good way of attaching a phone to a tripod. And now this didn't come with the Movo. This came with something else that I have. But here we have a little desktop solution for, like, if you're using your phone as a web camera. We'll get to that. But I didn't spend a little over $50 just for a glorified Gandalf stick. This also came with this. This is what they call a shotgun mic. This they actually call a dead kitten. It's a windscreen. It keeps the wind from making those little noises. They're not little. And this sits on top of the Movo thing like that and plugs into your phone if it has a headphone output. Samsung, Apple. Grr. So of course, if you're filming somebody else, you have it facing that way. And if you are filming yourself, you just turn around and face it that way. It actually works really well. So here we have a Galaxy Note 8 with the stock mic. Doesn't sound too bad, really. It's perfectly usable. And now we're recording through the Movo shotgun mic. Should sound a little bit better. In fact, this is one of the reasons why I bought a Note 8 when the V20 stopped working reliably is because it still has a headphone jack and I can still use this system. But the nice thing about this whole system is that it's a bit better dressed than the stick. So if you're, say, going around town doing person on the street interviews with people, this would be a perfectly acceptable way to do it. It's not so fancy that somebody's going to go, ooh, I want to steal that. But it's also not a stick, so people are going to take you seriously. And because these are standard mounts, you can expand it as you get more stuff. For example, ooh, fancy. And it's really not that fancy compared to what was available even just 10 years ago. This is nothing. But you can also do all of this with the stick. If you're interested in the Movo, I have a link in the description where you can look at it more and buy it if you like. I did not include a link to the stick. This has been a quick look at some really inexpensive ways to stabilize handheld phone video and why that's important. Thanks for watching. Give me a like and a subscribe if you're of the mind, and I'll catch you next time.